Hey everyone, hope everything's going great. Welcome to another edition. I know I sound like a broken record with this, but I know it's been a while. But again, hope everything's going okay. Summer's over, we're in fall. Before you know it, it's going to be winter and Christmas is going to be here. Football season's here, so hopefully everybody's enjoying that. Got a little Thursday night football going on right now with the 49ers and the Giants. I'll probably say you're probably surprised that it's not a complete blowout right now. The game just went into commercial. I believe they're still in the third quarter, and right now the score is 12-20. Oh, well, they're about to go into the fourth quarter, 12-20. So it's still not impossible for the Giants to come back and win this game, but it would be a surprise if they did. But anyway. Again, welcome. Again, I hope everybody's been doing well since last I posted a episode. And if you're listening to this, thank you very much. Let's get right into what we're going to talk about here. And I know there's a lot going on in the wrestling. Seems to always be a lot going on in the wrestling world right now. Obviously, the biggest thing that just happened is the merger of UFC and WWE now to become TKO Enterprises. And they just had some layoffs, unfortunately. And that's what happens. I was talking to somebody about this. Sorry, excuse me. I'm just getting over something that I had. I wouldn't really call it a cold. Somebody in my office just came back from Greece, and she came back sick. And then my mother came back from a cruise herself, and she came back sick. So somebody gave me something. But it's weird because I didn't have a stuffy nose. I didn't have a headache. I didn't have a fever. It was more like just like in my throat and in my chest. So I really didn't have a voice these last couple of days. And even when I wake up in the morning, I don't seem to have a voice. And then as the day goes on, it'll come back. So I still have a little bit of a cough. But anyway, I was talking to a friend of mine about this is that, I went through this at my last job. Is that, when you get acquired or you start merging, there's going to be positions that's going to get phased out because let's say you're the old company and a new company is coming in, the person who's doing, who's your counterpart at the other company, that person may take over your position. Now, it could be because that person was making less money than you. They may say that person is, more experienced than you. Or it could just be that since, we're the new company coming in, we're absorbing you, we're merging, we're taking you guys over, we're going to keep our people. And if you guys saw, quite a few people got hit hard at WWE offices, and it sucks. They told nobody to come into the office. They were going to do like a Zoom, and you would have found out if you who got cut. I've never experienced, I've been a part of, being acquired, but I didn't experience the layoff. And I think slowly now, I'm not there anymore, but I think slowly now they're going to start doing that. Because there was always like little hints of, well, we want to put this and we want to merge this and we want to do that with this system and we want to get a system where, the two systems are talking to each other. And to sort of eliminate needing all these people. So down the road, I see the company I just left starting to do what WWE just did and start laying people off, unfortunately. It sucks. It really does. And actually, just today at my new job, I found out that we got rid of somebody who's been there for 22 years. And, the reason was that their position was phased out. I mean, to some degree, I do understand it. But at the same time, this is a person who's been with you for 22 years. And how you could just easily just say, see ya. If it was somebody who was there for, a year, 3 years, 5 years, I can sort of say, okay, thank you, but we don't need you anymore. But somebody who's been there for like 15 plus years, I mean, come on, that's pretty messed up. And just the way it was done, again, for someone who's been there that long, could have been handled a little bit better. And if you remember, John Briscoe a couple of years ago wasn't happy the way WWE let him go. He's like, I've been here for years, and this is how you kind of just dump me. But today, what came out was that we got a list of some of the wrestlers who were let go, which is the list that we were waiting for. And it's already been announced that there's going to be more, that they don't want to do this in a bunch because they want to avoid, bad press. And, that sucks for the people because now you have people who are sitting on pins and needles wondering if I'm the one who's going to get cut. Maybe not so much the wrestlers, because I think as a wrestler, I think you kind of know the size of when you're going to get cut. And I think the sign is that when they're not using you, or you are being used, but you just use that as an enhancement talent, or they continue to change your gimmick because they can't seem to find something that sticks, or, it was always seemed bad that you got demoted to NXT. And out of the list that came out today, I think the big surprise was that Dolph Ziggler was let go. And I know Dolph Ziggler was used off and on. But again, he's one of those people who's been there for years. And, Dolph gets a bad rap because I think Dolph gets overlooked. And while Dolph was not the main attraction, he is a former champion. And what stopped his momentum was he got a concussion. I think he got 2 concussions. Now, he could have had more, but I think, when they put the belt on him finally, he got a concussion. And I think the people who didn't really have faith in him, but probably, okay, let's just give him money in the bank, just let him cash in, just to shut these people up who think, we're stupid and not pushing him. And I think they said, see, look, we gave him the opportunity and look what happened. He got hurt. He got a concussion. He's injury prone. We're not going to push him. And essentially that's what happened. But I think when he was used and you knew he was going to lose, you were still entertained by him. And he sort of got a resurgence when he was in NXT. But after that little period NXT ended, you didn't really see him anymore. That was it. But I still thought they would have held on to him because I thought, okay, he wasn't the guy, but he's the guy that we can use, for somebody like LA Knight. Austin Theory, which happened in the very beginning, which that whole storyline didn't make sense. But anyway, you could have fed him to Gunther again. You could have fed him to Omar. You could have kept using him. You could have continued. I think they did a match with him and Bronson Reed. You could have kept using him. So I was disappointed to see that Dolph Ziggler was gone. Another name that was not a surprise was Mustafa Ali. And Mustafa Ali is probably the only one out of that group who was happy that he got released because he's wanted to be released. He wanted to be let go because he was tired of not being used. And, he's another one who was getting that push, but unfortunately, Daniel Bryan Danielson kind of screwed him when he landed on his face and jacked up his eye, and that opportunity ended up going to Kofi Kingston. Or maybe it was Kofi who injured him. But he ended up getting the opportunity and not Mustafa. They tried to do the whole retribution thing, but, that just happened at a bad time. It was COVID, empty arenas. It just didn't work. Dana Brooke was on that list, which I don't think is a surprise because they didn't give that girl any kind of chance. Aaliyah was on that list, which I'm sure everybody forgot. I forgot about Aaliyah. So it's not a surprise she's gone. Shelton Benjamin was let go. Rick Boogs was let go, which I don't think it's much of a surprise because, some of these guys, they throw into a makeshift tag team, which was Rick Boogs and Shinsuke. Then Boogs got hurt at WrestleMania. We didn't see him. He came back. He really wasn't used that much after that. I thought they were going to put him. I thought they would put him back together, but with Shinsuke, but they didn't do that. Commander Aziz was let go, and that was the guy who was with Apollo Crews. To tell you the truth, I'm surprised Apollo Crews is still hanging around. And I never really enjoyed Apollo Crews that much, but who's to say that he's not going to get hit in the second round? And it makes you think about guys who get injured a lot or guys we don't see that much. You know, I have a feeling Johnny Gargano is going to be in that next, round of cuts. Wouldn't surprise me if Tommaso Ciampa is in it. Vince is back in the mix now. And these are Triple H's guys that he probably doesn't really feel. And even you can sort of tell that Triple H is not in full control like he was before. You can just tell it through the TV, through the storylines, who's being used and who's being pushed. Have you noticed who's sort of gotten a resurgence since Vince has been back? Theory. There was a period we weren't even seeing Theory as much. I went on my rant when they took the money in the bank off of him, that ridiculous way they got it off of him. But then there was a period we weren't seeing Austin Theory at all. And remember when before Vince left, Austin was in 2 or 3 segments throughout each show? Then he fell off. I mean, even Roman threw it into his promo, your daddy's not here anymore. And now that Vince has come back, look who's being featured a little bit more prominently now. And look who's taken a step back as far as being featured. The guys that Triple H was really pushing, you ain't seeing that much anymore. Bronson Reed was getting a pretty good shot when he first got there. Now, you could go a couple of weeks and not see him. So I think Triple H's guys are on the chopping block. They're really not doing anything with Tommaso Ciampa. Johnny Gargano's hurt again. They're not doing anything with Candice LeRae. There's a few other people they brought from NXT that you haven't even seen them. I think Mia Yim or Micha, whatever her hell her name is, I wouldn't be surprised if, she goes bye-bye. I was disappointed to see Madcap Moss go because I did like him. And, I think he was a Vince guy, so I was a little surprised to see him go. Somebody else who I'm surprised is still hanging around is R-Truth. Now, I know R-Truth is out with an injury, but R-Truth has dodged a lot of bullets. And the reason why I think R-Truth is going to be on this list eventually is that, A, he is hurt, so it's not like we're going to miss him. It's not going to be a gut punch that, he's gone, we really enjoyed him, because he's out nursing an injury. But to me, if you got rid of Dolph Ziggler, to me, you got to get rid of R-Truth. And I don't want to play too much of a factor on age. I mean, R-Truth is in his 40s, but listen, so is Cena, so is AJ Styles. So I don't want to base it solely so much on age, but they're not being utilized. Dolph wasn't being used. R-Truth wasn't being used. So that's why in my eyes, I can kind of see them letting R-Truth go, because they're going to say he's older. He's in phenomenal shape. He's older. We're not doing anything with him. He's out hurt right now. And what really do we have for him to do when he comes back? What are you going to do? So now the question is, out of the people who were let go, we always ask this question, who's going to end up in AEW? And I probably would have said before, a year and a half ago, because if you listen to one of my earlier shows, I rattled off all the people that WWE let go and how fast AEW picked them up. And how that devalued, to me, their debuts. Because a week later, you had another WWE person coming. And then after that, you had another WWE person coming. Then after that, you had 2. So it just kept going nonstop. And out of that list, it's who's going to go to AEW, who's going to go to Impact. Excuse me. And I think everybody thought that, Jesus Christ, what was her name that left? She wrestles as Trinity now. What the hell was her name? Naomi. Everybody thought when Naomi walked out of WWE, same thing with Sasha Banks, everybody thought that they both were going to pop up in AEW. But Naomi ended up going to TNA. or Impact. And Sasha, went off to Japan. And Tony Khan is in the midst of his own layoffs. And, he's trying to be cute with it, where he says, well, we're not going to release people out of their contracts. We're not going to let people go like that. But you are letting people go because you're just not renewing the contract. You're just letting them go in a different way. You're just not renewing the contracts. And yeah, he has a bloated roster. That's why he needs so many freaking shows, because his roster is bloated. You have Rampage, Collision, and you have Dynamite. And even your roster is so bloated that you can't even accommodate all that, because now you have the Ring of Honor roster as well. But if I had to speculate, I know everybody's talking about Edge showing up in AEW and seeing the reunion of ENC. But putting Edge aside, the two people who I could probably see ending up in AEW, one for sure, I think I see Dolph Ziggler. And the reason why I say Dolph is because I think a lot of Dolph's friends are in AEW more than TNA or Impact. I keep saying TNA. And I think Madcap is going to end up in Impact, I think. But I think Ziggler for sure will end up in AEW. I was going to say Madcap to AEW as well, but I'm kind of thinking no. But I think for sure we can see Ziggler in AEW. Now, is he going to become a huge, I should say huge, is he going to become, a champion? That I don't know. But I think he can have some great matches with a lot of guys there. I think with Wheeler Yuta, he can have some more stuff with, as we know him as Cesaro, with Swerve, Adam Cole. I think he could do great with MJF. Him and Moxley had some great matches in WWE over the Intercontinental title. I think AEW is a much better fit for Dolph Ziggler. And I think guys like Mustafa Ali and Madcap Moss would probably have better luck in a place in like Impact. I think Top Dollar was let go. They've done nothing with Top Dollar, since their return, which to me is the end of Hit Row. Top Dollar's gone. I didn't see the rest of them of Top Dollar on that list, but look how they were used since they came back. They weren't taken seriously. Look how they were used. So they're going to be gone. I think Tozawa's probably going to be gone. They're cleaning house. Shelton Benjamin was let go. I think Cedric Alexander is going to be next to go too. I think MVP is going to be next to be let go because, since WrestleMania, him or Omos haven't been seen. I wouldn't be surprised to let Omos go. So I think we're going to see some names that's really going to surprise us. Will Braun Strowman be let go? Because remember, Triple H essentially brought back quite a few people that Vince had let go. Vince is back now. So unless those people that was brought back came back for less money, I think, Braun could be gone again too, depending on what he's currently making. But I think we're going to see a lot of names in the coming days that's going to surprise us a little bit. But sometimes the writing's on the wall when you're just not seeing these guys. Like I said, Cedric Alexander, he's been there for a long time. They've really done nothing with him. He's had the mild success in the Hurt business. Why are you going to keep him around? If you're not going to keep Dolph Ziggler, why would you keep Cedric Alexander? And I'm sorry to say that, but why would you? because that's your enhancement talent. But listen, they can always get local talent, as they've done, get local talent, which costs you much less money. So yeah, get rid of guys like Ziggler, get rid of guys like R-Truth, get rid of guys like Shelton Benjamin, because that's all they were used for, was enhancement. Now the other thing that I was going to address was the fact of Vince being back, because apparently there's a report out there that Vince held a meeting that they were talking about the merger and everything, and he said that WWE had plateaued, and this was to kind of help to go to the next level. And there was a bit of an eye roll because everybody's saying, well, listen, we know the only reason why you did this was so you could get back into the company. Now, the thing about WWE plateauing, I'm sorry, to me, that's bullshit. And this was just his way of getting his foot back into the door. Now, listen, was this being bantied about before Vince left? Yes. When they were doing their first set of cuts, when they let Bray Wyatt go, when they let Braun Strowman go, it was already been speculated that Vince wanted to sell the company. But everybody thought, well, okay, now this is going to die now because Vince is gone. But Vince uses to get back in. Now you might, and that's the other thing. Look how Vince got back in. And you don't hear any outrage about this. And that's what I was saying in the beginning when the whole thing came out with Vince and paying the women off and everything. My thing was, it's a wrestling company. Nobody cares. And surprisingly, it got a little bit more traction than I thought it was going to get in the mainstream media. But I don't think that was the pressure. I think the pressure was internal because WWE, the shareholders, the boards, they were worried that Vince was going to cause issues because clearly if we, the fans and the public, are seeing this news, clearly your business partners are seeing it as well. And now do you want to start losing advertising? Do you want to start losing your sponsorships? And all your, and all your other global things you have going on, do you want to lose that? And I think the pressure was from because like I said, when you fuck with the balance sheet, you're fucking with the assets, you're fucking with the cash, okay? You're fucking with the cash, you gotta go. And I think that's why he bowed to the pressure inside and left. But now he's back. Because, what was that? Pretty much a year he was pretty much gone. Almost a year he was gone. And look how he came back in. And notice how it's crickets out there. Nobody's saying, how come he's back? Shame on that. I mean, he's out there promoting this. He was at the New York Stock Exchange. It's dead silence when it comes to this. So Vince is not going anywhere unless something else is coming out that we didn't know. And not to mention, there was a reporter that threatened that he had, deeper shit on Vince and that he was going to release this. Now, I don't know what happened to that reporter. I don't know if he got on something else and just said forget about it, or he'll throw it out there, or maybe he was like, well, what the hell's the point now? Because Vince is back. What's the incentive for him to leave? You could have did this before the deal went through and tried to mess up the deal and release, stuff on him, but you didn't. So I don't think Vince is going anywhere anytime soon. And even though Vince is not backstage like he was before he left, he still has his hands in creative. And to me, you can tell that the quality of the show is back to what it was before. What I will say, what I'm happy to see, is that the matches or the standard that Triple H has seemed to have set for the matches, that seems to have stayed the way it is. But in terms of who we are seeing and who we are not seeing, tells you who's running the show, who's back to running the show. And I think if Vince wasn't involved, I think the list of releases that we saw would have been a little bit different. That's what I just think. Like I said, this is just the first list we've seen. There's going to be more. And again, depending on who is on that list, I think just confirms more who is back in control. Now, R-Truth is a Vince guy, so maybe R-Truth will be spared. I don't know. But I think R-Truth is next. I think Cedric is next. I think Mia, or Mitch, whatever her name is left. I think Candice LeRae is next. There's another lady who I can't think of her name. She was an Asian lady that they brought from NXT. They've done nothing with her. Nothing with her. I think she's next to go as well. You know, I would be surprised if Jinder Mahal and his group is going to be out of here. The rest of Hit Row is going to be out of here. Just how it goes. But I think Dolph will be all elite. I think Shelton Benjamin will probably end up in Impact. I think Mustafa will end up in Impact. I think Rick Boogs, you know, is probably going to play the independents for a while because I don't think his value is where he thinks it is, or his value is not where he can command quite a bit of money. So I think, you know, he's going to get booked more because, you know, his fee is not going to be a whole lot. So I think he's going to play, I think he would play the independents a little bit more. Whereas Madcap said, you know, I'm sure people think that my career took a downturn when Triple H came in, but, you know, his upside or his pre-match, whatever, per match, whatever went up. So, you know, he could probably charge a lot once he, you know, does whatever he does. But Madcap, I think, is somebody we can see an Impact. But we'll have to see what happens. But you know, unfortunately, these are the things that happens. Let's see what else goes on down the road. Let's see who's next to be released. All right. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I know I didn't really talk about The Rock coming back. I think I'm going to do a video about that tomorrow. You know, there's been a lot of controversy that The Rock, you know, is stepping on Cody's toes. You know, he should have been there. He disrespected the business. And I've said this before. Guys like Undertaker, guys like Triple H, guys like Shawn Michaels, guys like Batista, guys like The Rock, guys like Stone Cold have earned their right to come and go as they please. And I'm sorry, people love Cody. They do. But now you have LA Knight. And I think LA Knight should be the one to defeat Roman. However, if you want to sort of put like the Brock Lesnar level, I mean, did Brock Lesnar need to beat the streak? No, but he did. But look what that did, because when Brock came back, Brock was sort of booked 50-50. He wins some, he loses some. Brock really wasn't booked as the monster that he got booked after he broke the streak. And I think if you want to put that little bit of spice and that little bit of spin on Roman at WrestleMania 40, Night 1, Rock versus Roman. Roman goes over. Night 2, Roman versus LA Knight. LA Knight goes over. I just don't think with LA Knight and The Rock swimming around, I just don't think you can get Cody and Roman too. I just don't think. Now, I read something where they were saying they were kind of trying to make this a 3-year thing that Cody goes to WrestleMania 40, loses again, but then wins the Royal Rumble a third time, and let this be the first time that somebody wins the Royal Rumble back to back to back 3 years in a row. Now, some of you might be saying, wait a minute, Stone Cold did that. No, Stone Cold didn't. Stone Cold won 2 Royal Rumbles. Stone Cold did win 3, but like Shawn Michaels, he won 2 back-to-back. He won 1997 and he won 1998. Vince McMahon won in 1999. Rock won in 2000. And then Austin won in 2001. So if that is correct, that this is the plan for Cody to win the Royal Rumble 3 times, and the third time at WrestleMania 41 is successful, Cody will be the first person to win the Royal Rumble 3 years in a row. I believe Shawn Michaels did it 95 and 96. And then Austin came 97, 98. Vince in 99. Rock in 2000. Stone Cold again in 2001. Then in 2002, it was Triple H. 2003. Who won the Royal Rumble in 2003? Can't remember. In 2004, it was Benoit. Trying to think if I can remember this without looking it up. Who won the Royal Rumble in 2003? I believe that was Brock Lesnar won in 2003. Yes, because that's when he had the botch flip at the botch flip, because that was WrestleMania 19 that happened at. And at WrestleMania 19, it was Jericho and Shawn Michaels, Brock, and that was Triple H, and so it was Brock Lesnar who won the Royal Rumble in 2003. So I don't know if they're going to go that far with Cody. And like I said, I don't think you can get away with it, because if that's going to be hot. Okay, Rock versus Roman. But if Rock doesn't do it again, what's behind that? What's behind what's the hot thing behind Rock versus Roman? It's LA Knight. To me, LA Knight has surpassed Cody Rhodes. I'm sorry, I think so. And if Rock doesn't do it, I think fans are going to be clamming for LA Knight. And I think you're going to get a situation in your hands again where everybody was chanting, Daniel Bryan. Remember what happened in 2015? They had Roman win. Did that go over well? No, it didn't. I'm sorry, they didn't have Roman win. Batista won that time. Batista won. That was 2014. And then they tried to do it again in 2015. And did that work? No. So 2 years in a row, it did not work. That the person that the fans wanted, you did not put over initially. 2014 with Batista and 2015 with Roman. And you tried to have The Rock there to help, and it didn't. And I think right now, in the 2024 Royal Rumble, if you have LA Knight eliminated, people are going to boo and they're going to piss on it because if they're not getting Rock versus Roman, they want they want Roman versus LA Knight, not Roman versus Cody too. I'm sorry, they don't. And you're going to have the same shit you had before. Guarantee it. Well, we'll see. But I'll get into more of that tomorrow night. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Have a good night, and thanks for listening.